Welcome to Reds Fusion LFC, pure Liverpool passion, every week. Love the Reds? Hit subscribe and never walk alone. Liverpool transfer news: Reds Premier League double deal as 3 exits edge closer. Liverpool have already spent over £180 million in the summer transfer window but aren't slowing down, with eyes on a striker and a centre-back at a rival Premier League side. Liverpool have already completed 5 deals in the summer transfer window, but they are not showing signs of slowing down. The Reds are bolstering their squad after winning the Premier League title in Arne Slot's debut campaign and have already sealed some eye-catching moves. Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Armin Pexi and Freddie Woodman have all joined Slot's squad, with over £180 million spent. But Liverpool are still very much in the market, with a striker and a centre-back on the cards, plus replacements for any other players who might leave. There are doubts over the futures of Darwin Nuñez, Luis Diaz, Ibrahima Konate and Harvey Elliott, so more transfers are very likely. Here Mirror Football brings you the latest from the club, with an exciting double swoop from a Premier League rival potentially on the cards, as well as some exits. Reds Matita. Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Matita and his representatives have reportedly met with Liverpool in recent days as the Reds look to bolster their forward ranks. The Reds are in the market for a new striker and could go after the Frenchman, who Foot Mercato claim met with Liverpool chiefs in Paris in the last few days. Matita scored 14 goals for Palace last season, but the club are slightly vulnerable, with just 2 years left on his contract. Liverpool want a replacement for Darwin Nuñez, who they want to sell this summer and has been linked with Napoli. Matita was previously linked with Manchester United, with a £40 million to £50 million fee mooted. It could mean a double deal for Liverpool, who are also eyeing Palace captain Mark Guéhi. West Ham target duo West Ham are interested in signing Liverpool duo Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton this summer. Elliott is poised to leave Anfield this summer in search of more regular game time and has attracted plenty of attention after starring at the under-21 Euros, while Morton is also a fringe player for his club side following loan spells. The Guardian reports that the Hammers want to use the money they have earned from the sale of Mohamed Kudus to Tottenham. They netted £54.5 million from that deal and believe Elliott would be a good replacement, although there is interest from RB Leipzig. No bid has been made yet, but West Ham are reportedly confident they could land Elliott. He is keen to leave the Premier League winners and could get what he's searching for under Graham Potter. Diaz asking price: Luis Diaz has been continually linked with a move away from Liverpool this summer, and we've continually been told that the club are not looking to sell. Liverpool transfer news as $58 million, talks held, and Darwin Nuñez, still waiting. Liverpool transfer news as talks are supposedly held for a $58 million Premier League striker and Darwin Nuñez is still waiting for Napoli amid conflicting reports coming out of Italy. Liverpool has played its first pre-season game of the summer, and preparations are underway behind the scenes for the new season. In part, that will involve the transfer market too. Though Darwin Nuñez scored against Preston North End, there is a chance that he moves on. Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton are being linked with West Ham United among others, and there are more Liverpool players potentially heading for the exit door too. Here is the Liverpool.com verdict on the transfer gossip to emerge around the Reds today. One name emerged fresh on Monday out of the blue, while there is also the latest on Napoli's pursuit of Nuñez, a deal that seems to make a lot of sense. Jean-Philippe Matita, Crystal Palace. Liverpool has made contact about the possibility of signing Jean-Philippe Matita from Crystal Palace. That is according to the French outlet Foot Mercato, which reports that the Reds have identified him as a cheaper alternative to other options under consideration. Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike are going to cost a huge amount, if they are attainable at all, while Matita is being touted as being available for a price tag of between $58 million, £43 million, and $70 million, £52 million. He's an old-fashioned striker, you can play a little more direct, Thierry Henry, who coached Matita at the Olympics with France, said last summer. He can keep the ball. He's a boring striker to play against, he doesn't lose the ball much, and he goes at the last defender. He uses his physicality, he's good with his head, and he scores. Liverpool.com says, at 28, Mateta is hardly an obvious target for the Reds. He did well last season and can clearly score goals, but he would be relatively expensive for a not particularly long-term option. Darwin Nuñez latest. Scoring for Liverpool against Preston North End at the weekend, Darwin Nuñez's future remains in the balance. It probably makes sense for the Uruguayan to move on and get regular game time, but he won't be going anywhere on the cheap. Nuñez continues to wait for Napoli, but he can't wait forever, despite other significant offers, Fabrizio Romano said on his YouTube channel. Everyone is waiting for Napoli to make a decision regarding the striker and figure out which path they will take. Darwin Nuñez has important opportunities in Saudi Arabia, so it's clear he can't wait forever for Napoli. Last week, it was suggested that Napoli would move away from a potential deal because it was getting too expensive. That was according to Sky Italia. It said that AC Milan and Atlanta have both shown an interest in Lecce forward Lorenzo Luca, and so Napoli feels forced into making a decision. Liverpool transfer could still happen as intrigue grows after partnership torn up. Liverpool have embarked on a period of change at fullback with 2 new signings brought in. It was for a long time among the most secure parts of Liverpool's outfield starting lineup. While forwards were rotated, midfielders rested and centre-backs shuffled, the full-back positions, injuries permitting, were almost universally the same. First under Jurgen Klopp and later Arne Slot, on the left was Andy Robertson, while manning the opposite flank was Trent Alexander-Arnold, arguably the most potent attacking full-back partnership in Europe for several years. Now, though, that status quo has been changed, Alexander-Arnold having departed to Real Madrid in time for their failed FIFA Club World Cup endeavour, and Robertson, now 31, moving beyond his prime years. And the Scotland international is now involved in what at present is a 5-way scrap for the 2 wide defensive roles as Liverpool prepare for the defence of the Premier League title they won at a canter last season. Not since the fleeting days in the early 1990s when Kenny Dalglish seemed intent on cramming as many fullbacks into his 11 has there been such a competition for places in those positions. Liverpool spent almost £70 million in updating their options this summer, first triggering right-back Jeremy Frimpong's release clause at Bayer Leverkusen and then finally reaching an agreement with Bournemouth over long-term left-back target Milos Kerkez. The arrival of the latter has been expected to prompt the departure of either Robertson or longtime deputy Kostas Tsimikas. While Robertson, who is now in the last 12 months of his contract, emerged as a target for Atletico Madrid earlier in the summer, such transfer speculation has been quiet in recent weeks. And the reaction of Tsimikas on social media after Sunday's 3-1 friendly win at Preston North End, when he referred to Season 6 Episode 1 of his Liverpool, hardly seemed that of a player planning on leaving any time soon. Nevertheless, it would be a surprise if both Robertson and Tsimikas remain on the books by the time the transfer window closes on September 1st. Connor Bradley, meanwhile, will be hoping for an extended run of availability at right-back given injuries that have limited the 22-year-old to only 17 Premier League starts since making his debut in the competition 2 seasons ago. The quintet all featured for 45 minutes each at Deepdale, albeit Robertson playing at centre-back for the second half alongside teenager Amara Nallo given Liverpool's lack of available options in the heart of defence. Bradley was the biggest winner, his well-taken 33rd-minute opener the highlight of an all-action first-half showing. On the other flank, Tsimikas was more subdued going forward but contributed a couple of key defensive interventions early on. The duo were replaced by Frimpong and Kerkez respectively at half-time. Newcastle make Alexander Isak to Liverpool decision after huge Hugo Ekitike transfer bid. Newcastle are working on a transfer for Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike in a move that will have knock-on effects for star player Alexander Isak this summer. Newcastle are pushing ahead with a transfer for Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike, and want him to partner Alexander Isak up front, not replace him. Ekitike contributed 22 goals and 12 assists in 48 games for Frankfurt last season to help them qualify for the Champions League. He has attracted interest from a whole host of clubs this summer, including Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester United, but Newcastle are determined to land him. The Magpies are short up front after Callum Wilson decided to leave the club as a free agent, rather than sign a new deal. They completed a £55 million deal for Nottingham Forest winger Anthony Elanga and now want to sign Ekatike to add real strength and depth up front. Newcastle have held talks with Frankfurt in Germany over the past week and have now stepped up their pursuit with further discussions while on a pre-season trip to Austria, according to Sky Sports. Ekatike, 23, has a release clause of €100 million, £86 million, and Frankfurt are in a strong position to negotiate, with the France under-21 striker under contract until June 2029. That fee is way above the club record £63 million fee Newcastle paid Real Sociedad for Isak in August 2022. Newcastle are trying to negotiate a lower fee of around €75 million, £65 million, but that potential transfer fee raises major questions about the club's finances. The Athletic reports that a move for Ekatike without selling Isak, who has been eyed by Liverpool, would create problems with the profit and sustainability rules. But Eddie Howe is certain that he wants both of the strikers and could play them alongside each other, something that would mean a change in formation. Isak scored 23 Premier League goals last season as the sole centre-forward, and the arrival of Elanga increases the competition for places on the flanks, where Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon and Jacob Murphy play. Newcastle tried to sign Ekatike in January 2022, but a £20 million transfer fell through on deadline day. They have continued to monitor his progress and have been impressed with his form for Frankfurt, who signed him in a deal worth €17.5 million last summer. The German side have proven to be good sellers in recent years, letting Omar Marmush go for €75 million, £65 million, to Manchester City in January and selling Randal Kolo Muani to Paris Saint-Germain for €95 million in 2023. Frankfurt sporting director Markus Krösche recently told Sport 1, "He's one of the most interesting strikers on the European market. Hugo has to decide that. I'm glad we have him. If he decides otherwise, that's our motto: if a player develops faster than us, we let him go."